The animal movies that I grew up watching in the post-war years asked me into a familiar world where nature's backyard was like my own. The movies began with the spring, the birth of an animal. They were not so different from the stories of paradise that drifted down from the Bible or garden history. Today, those movies could not be made. Their intimacy seems naive, their science bogus. But these stories of a nature imbalance and somehow outside of history were a kind of utopian fantasy for me. They were the myths that I lived. My environmental politics were shaped by those movies and also by events in automotive time. In the post-war years, brightly colored cars filled the new highways in summer like allegories of progress. Framed by our windshield, the view was like the screen of a drive-through movie. The car moved ahead, but the effect was the opposite, as if we stayed still and the roadside landscape flowed past us into the inconsequential shadows of history. A metaphor for progress, what we saw out the windshield of the speeding car was the future itself. The vast land flitted by, untouchable, and I remember I wanted to get off at every point and lie down in the sweet summer fields. I like to think that my image of those fields comes from someplace inside me, from some real place, but my memory is more like a snapshot or a moving picture. Staring through the viewfinder, we experienced the world as a photographic backdrop. The world is seen from space or a map. These were the Cold War years. Over time, the landscape became too laden with contradictions for any more utopian wildlife stories.
And now, reality.
So, nature movies shifted focus from animals to science. The first movie studios were labs for animal experimentation. The French scientist Etienne-Jules Marey invented the camera gun, not to reproduce motion, but to slice from it. His chronophotographs showed the invisible, like stills from the movement of a bird's wings. He used these images as data in his studies of hidden life forces. Marey wrote, "From the invisible atom to the celestial body in space, everything is subject to motion. It is the most apparent characteristic of life." Muybridge set still cameras along a track to take serial photographs. His studies of animal locomotion were the first staged animal movies and the first animals sacrificed to the film industry. From the time of Marey, photographic inventions were the tools of life scientists, and it's hard to imagine biology or any of the studies of animals without the camera's pictures of time or the anatomical images like X-rays for seeing the invisible inside ourselves. We capture or shoot something on film, metaphors of the hunt, organized around the eye. We draw a sharp line between the human and non-human, and the eye is our most powerful sense. The camera, its distance and fixed frame, exaggerate the eye's tendency to fragment, to objectify and estrange. In the last 100 years, animals have slowly been cut from our everyday lives as animal movies proliferate. In wildlife movies, we see a record of the slow recession of animals into history. Over and over again, we're led to hidden places uncontaminated by human presence. We watch, and this detachment is what nature movies promote. In other words, nature movies show images that are otherwise invisible. Nature is part of culture, shaped by photography, industry, advertising, and aesthetics. And now these images are phrased in terms of crisis and catastrophe. But the crisis is not out there in the environment. It is in our conversations, our households, our economies. Animals seem to have no more secrets to tell us about ourselves. They've been reduced to machines with no spirit, less than machines, just components of production. The lab is a demilitarized zone where the rules are in suspension. Perhaps the lab is the new wilderness, where the natural and human are inextricably bound up with technology. What do animals mean? Perhaps that the life force at the core of the apple that they tried so hard to film is the life in our own human bodies.
Here, I can let you have a closer look at them through these things here. Sometimes I look at them through these. See if I can. There. Now you take those and stand up there and look at them through those. Can you get them in focus? You have to move it around till you catch them both. Can you see them through it? Mm-hmm. Just move it around a little bit until you pick them up.
Got them.
Got them? You can get a closer look at them.
Well, this is closest to a fox ever.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Spying on them. No privacy.
There, I got the hole.
Can you see his house with those
Yeah.
things? Here, put your arm up against that and then hold that back.
The whole idea of nature as something separate from human experience is a lie. Okay, turn around and look at me. Okay, move over this way a little. Good. Great. Smile.